My name's Geoff Quinn. I'm from the Buxton Brewery in Derbyshire in England. We started the brewery in 2009. It's a small scale, very small batch brew house. Right now we brew 6 days a week on a five barrel plant. Well, between 5 and 10 barrels depending on which beer we're brewing. The limiting factor being our mash tun, how much grain we can fit in. But right now we're going through an expansion program as well. So hopefully by September time we'll be about triple in size of the beer we can, or the volume of beer we can make. That's where we're at right now. But 4 years ago, obviously we were brand new and just starting out. So it took a while to get going, but we've been very pleased with how things have gone. The beers are really in high demand, so we can't make enough of them, which is obviously a great position to be in. Buxton is a small town. It's actually the highest market town in England. It's over 1,000 feet in altitude above sea level, so it's generally quite cold and it rains a lot. But it's a very beautiful town. It's a Roman town. It's very historic. The Romans were there because there's a warm water spring right in the centre of town, and Buxton is well known in the UK for its mineral water, which is one of the reasons why I thought it'd be great to open a brewery there as well. It's also right in the middle of the Peak District National Park, which is bang in the centre of England. It was the first national park in the world, and it's also extremely busy, so we get a lot of visitors to the town and interest in the beers through that as well. And in fact, something like 40% of the population of the UK live within about an hour of where we are. It's so central, so it's a good place to have a business. Yet at the same time it's extremely rural and it's beautiful rolling hillside, countryside. The logo represents Solomon's Temple, which is the Victorian folly built on top of a hill just literally outside Buxton. Most places in Buxton, if you look up to the hills, you can see the tower on the hilltop. A wealthy merchantman who lived in Buxton in the 1800s put the unemployed men of the town to work to build this tower just for something for them to do. And it took a lot of work because it's made of solid limestone. It had to be sort of carried up to the top of the hill, but it's very characteristic landmark in the town, so it's a fitting emblem to have for our logo. I think it's true to say most brewers pretend they don't look at rate beer much, but generally they do, and they like to see where they're doing on the scoring system, and we do too. So we're really pleased when we get into the top part of the list, and from a business perspective it really helps, because although we have a website of our own, I think a lot of international sort of importers and wholesalers will use rate beer as a kind of a window into a country. So they'll scan down the top 25 or 50 brewers in England, say, and we're high on that list. So that's a way in to us for them. So it's certainly a useful tool, and we export a lot of beer now. Last month we sent a little over 40% of our production overseas, and almost all of that export interest is come through rate beer. Sort of, it's not a direct referral, but we say, where did you hear from us? And they say, oh, we saw you on rate beer. So it's definitely helped us. When we started Buxton in 2009, there was about 750 breweries in total, and the vast majority of them are very small. And in 2013, the beginning of the year, it was well over 1,000. It's just this huge constant stream of new breweries starting up, and a lot of them are very, very small, or almost on a homebrew scale, or in a back of a pub. It's great for sort of cask ale and traditional English beer to have so many breweries, so much diversity of beer. What we've found is to differentiate yourself from this sea of beer, you have to sort of break it out of the English brewery mould, and looking into sour beers, black IPA, double IPA. That just sort of lifts you out of the mainstream, so to speak, and that for us has worked really well, because like going back to rate beer, it draws attention to yourself. But nevertheless, it's not good enough just to attempt to make these kinds of beers. You have to do them well. We do a large range of beers, generally about 16 or 17 beers in production on a regular basis. So we start a low gravity 3.6% pale ale called More Top. It's just got a shed load of American Chinook hops in there, so it's very refreshing, grapefruity, light summer beer, and that's the beer we brew most of. We just can't make enough of that stuff. So it's kind of a bread and butter beer for us. It brings in a lot of revenue and regular custom. But then we sort of go up through the strengths, and the beers we actually enjoy making more are the bigger ones. So we do an IPA called Axe Edge, which is a lot stronger than More Top, 6.8%. But again, it's got a lot of American hops. Also a lot of New Zealand. That's got a real grapefruity, citrusy, tropical fruit flavour and aroma, and that does fantastically well for us. Our limiting factor on brewing that is availability of the hops for it. So we're only contracted so much per year, so we have to carefully plan our brewing schedule. The real top end of what we can get into the mash tun grain-wise is our Russian Imperial Stout, which is called Tsar, and our regular version is 9.5%, and it's a big beer. It's very viscous and aromatic, and it smells like chocolate Christmas cake, and it's very rich. It's also dry hopped, so it has a sort of a bit of a refreshing hop aroma edge to it as well. We did an interesting special edition of it. One of the guys that worked in the brewery, he's got a really good beer cellar of his own back home, and he had a bottle of 1978 Courage Russian Imperial Stout, and one day at the brewery he brought it in for a tasting, and we opened the bottle and drank the beer, which was delicious after I think 28 years or whatever it had been in his collection. It's very salty, quite a startling beer to drink, and very, very thick and gloopy, but the lower inch of the bottle had a lot of sort of sediment sludge in there, which we actually retained and inoculated just a single 9-gallon cask of our regular Tsar. We just banged the shive back in on this cask and just put it in the corner of the brewery for about 9 or 10 months. We tapped it, tasted it, and it you could tell it was the same. It was still Tsar, but it's just taken on this extra character from the Brett. It's just got a sort of a gentle fruity tartness. It's not overpoweringly sour. It just has it's quite a delicate flavour, but it's very different to regular Tsar. And from that one bottle, we've inoculated that original cask, and then it's gone on to subsequent generations. And each time we do it, we can produce more of the beer. So it's kind of an organic production system. The first we yield 9 gallons, and now we're up to sort of 400 or 500 litres. So it's still small batch, but it's probably one of our favourite beers that we make, and it's very popular when people can get it. When the 2L guys came over for 3 or 4 days and we did 2 beers, it's just good fun to chat and talk about beer and recipes and have fun in the brew house, and then obviously have the beer as well to enjoy when it's ready. And those 2 beers we did, it's going to be interesting to see them in the market, because they're essentially the same beer, but one's a sour and one's an IPA. It's the same basic recipe in terms of malt and hops. They're different strengths, so but you taste them side by side, and they're related but very different. So just things like that are very interesting to do, and like you say, the geeks or the beer geeky sort of community really latch onto that and give us feedback and say what they like, say what they don't like. So it kind of feeds itself as an ongoing project. You know, we move on to another collab with somebody else, or we do some barrel aging in the brewery. So it's a continuous process of finding new things to do.